But where exactly did Sabhapati, I guess, fit into this picture, right? So we know that Crowley is interested in South India. He's interested in yoga. He's interested in Bhavani. He's interested in, what's happening here on the ground. But there's some debate about that, since, we have Gerald York writing that Crowley told him he got tantric knowledge from Sabhapaty Swamy in Madras, but there's really no evidence that Crowley met Sabhapaty Swamy personally. Crowley's own account is that he was introduced to the writings of Sabhapaty Swamy during his aforementioned journeys in Madurai through a man who spoke English well and was himself a great authority on yoga. And this is verified in a letter from Crowley to David Kerwin. So you can read in Henrik Bogdan has this brother Crowley, brother Kerwin. And he recounts that he was only at Madura for 3 days and was nobody's pupil. So that seems to be the most logical thing, that he was introduced to the works of Sabhapaty Swamy. But what's interesting here that sort of complicates it just a little bit is that Crowley elsewhere indicates that he received a teaching on yogic meditation at Madurai. So in the commentary to Blavatsky's The Voice in the Silence, he writes that he got a certain point in the body suitable for meditation from his guru in Madurai. But possibly this guru, it could have been an exaggeration in terms of who the guru really was. It could have been this man who spoke English well. And there's even some indication it could have been Karunananda Swami, who in a later advertisement for this book, The Voice in the Silence, published in the Kalpaka, claimed to be Sabhapati Swamy's student. So there's some sort of connection happening that's possible, but there's unfortunately no proof yet. But wherever he got Sabhapati Swamy's works from, he incorporated them into this instruction published in the Equinox called Liber HHH, and the section is SSS. And in that, there's an asana that's prescribed, preferably the thunderbolt, and the practice of the cavity of the brain is the yoni, the spinal cord is the lingam. You're instructed to concentrate the thought of your adoration in the brain, awaken the spine, and then sort of, imagine, energy going up and down along the spine in a certain very technical way. And this SSS could be, Sri Sabhapati Swamy, as well as sort of, the more Kabbalistic symbolism of Shin as fire. Although it's sort of interesting to see a kind of pun like that, if it is indeed a pun. So we know that Crowley's sort of source for this instruction, SSS, is at least partially from this diary entry, right? Or at least his engagement with this instruction and the source for this instruction is reflected in this diary entry that's published in Magic, right? The big blue brick. And we're supposed to draw the light of, your two eyes internally to Kundali by Ida and Pingala. Imagine the mind as a straight pole, right? Brahmarandra Kundali, and the consciousness at the bottom of this pole. Take hold of the consciousness by the two keennesses of your eyes and pull it slowly up, right? And keep it in Brahmarandra, drop it. It's sort of this up and down sort of cycle that we see here. What's interesting, though, is if you actually go back and examine Sabhapati's works, what he's really meaning, what he's really getting at with this terminology is that keenness is really sights that proceed from the eyes. Consciousness, bhavana jnana, is really this sort of meditative cultivation, right? And gnosis by means of cultivation. Sushumna, right? Those of you familiar with yogic terminology will know it's sort of this central nadi or channel. Sabhapati likes using this word vangshi, the Tamil form vasi, which just means pipe in a way, a channel. And then kundali is not kundalini as this sort of abstract serpent, but really a place, a coil at the base of the spine that he translates sort of really idiosyncratically as the bottom and center of the spiritual organ of throwing urine, right? So it's sort of really, a technical place in the body at the base of the spine, usually linked to the Muladhara chakra. and the Brahmarandra, crevice of the Brahman, is the fontanelle, right? And in Sabhapati, he uses this terminology, divine pilgrimage, which really gets it to sort of what, Henry Olcott and others, and of course Crowley, would have been interested in this idea of, traveling in his terminology, right, in the body of light.